Hello. So, welcome to the eighth episode of the EgoWorks Artist Studio Vlog. Maybe one day I'll come up with a title that's not as awkward to say every episode, but we'll work with what we have right now. So, again, hello. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I am known for my furry fantasy adventure comic Tall Tales and my medieval fantasy drama Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which completed a very successful run on Kickstarter. And I just want to thank everybody again for supporting the campaign. For those of you who are not familiar with Ego Raven, you can check out the link in the show notes to the pre-launch page of issue 10, which I am currently working on and will be launching on Kickstarter in the next couple of months. And if you are familiar with it already, I'd appreciate it if you clicked that notify me button so that you'll get notified when the campaign goes live. So, as you've also noticed, I'm a little late with this episode because one, I was really trying to finish more artwork than I thought I could this week, and it kind of threw me off a bit. And also at the last minute, I had a change in topic for the episode. So in the end, it's like I kind of had to switch things around. Oh, and before I forget to, if you are new here and if you are not new here, if you hear any strange noises in the background, I share my office space with a parrot and two parakeets, and they do whatever they want. If you hear strange noises in the background, that's them, because they especially think when I'm recording a video, that's the best time to be making those noises. But I will try to edit out the more obnoxious sounds as much as I can. They're just going to be doing what they're going to be doing. I am still in the process of working on Ego Raven issue 10. This issue is taking me a lot longer than I have anticipated. I'm not really sure why that's the case, why I'm dragging my feet with it. It certainly doesn't help that on top of that, I still have to finish the commissions for House of Bob that I still owe two commissioners. Although, to be fair, one of them just gave me the go-ahead to color in their piece traditionally. So I do have that piece inked. I did show it on the last episode. I haven't started coloring it yet, but I will be doing that this week. I want to finish it in the next couple of days so I can get that one out, and then I can work on the last piece to close out the House of Bob campaign. For those of you who don't know, House of Bob is my collection of adult furry artwork, and I recently did a sketchbook campaign. Well, recently, i.e. back in October, and these are the commissions that are still owed from that campaign. So the pieces that I did get finished this week. So part of the House of Bob project is actually a side project of what I've been doing, a series of male pinups consisting of 5 mascots each. I already completed the set with the wolves. So I did a series of mascots with wolves, slash werewolves, however you want to. Werewolves that don't shift. So now I just completed a set of 5 male mascots who happen to be unicorns. So the kind of like the developing story with this is that House of Bob is kind of like the main, I guess, like title series of these pinups. The wolves and the unicorn guys are kind of like offshoots from that. I'm still trying to connect the lore, but at this moment, all I'm concerned about is finishing the mascots so that I can go ahead and create merch for them, but these are the pieces that I've finished. So these are 3 unicorn guys who are still currently unnamed. There are variants to these pieces, but for obvious reasons, I am not showing them on the video. So if you would like to see the variants of these images, you can head on over to my Fur Affinity page. You do have to be logged in just for the nature of everything. These 3 pieces officially complete this part of the series of these male pinups. And that kind of was the reason why at the last minute I decided to change the topic for this video. So last year, I had learned about a convention named Monsterotica. And it is a book convention that specializes in monster smut novels. On a whim, I tried to apply to be a vendor at that convention, especially since a lot of these books have a tendency to use comic book art as, or at least comic book style art for their covers. I thought that, I probably would be a fit for it, but I just didn't know for sure because I've never done covers for novels before. So, not a surprise, I wasn't accepted because, and in the end, like I said, it wasn't a surprise because I don't exactly have probably the type of portfolio they were looking for. It's made me start thinking about it's like, okay, I know that they're going to be looking for a certain type of artist to vend there. What does that look like? And that was also the reason why I ended up buying a ticket anyway to go to the convention so that I can kind of scope out the environment and see what kind of just what the expectation is, what sells, what doesn't sell. I mean, and so far from what I've been seeing, it's really not that much different from just doing comic book conventions, especially nowadays where a lot of emphasis is put on prints and kind of like tchotchkes. Like if I were to vend at Monsterotica, what would I have to do with my artwork in order to pivot into something like that? And the more I worked on it, really massaged the idea, this is actually no different than what I used to do back in my furry fandom days. The merchandise really wasn't that much different either. A lot of erotic artwork and a lot of ancillary products related to that erotic artwork. I began to realize if I plan this out correctly, I could actually hit 2 fandoms in one. What I've been doing is testing out posting, like these pieces to Fur Affinity. I guess it's not a surprise that they're very well liked. I had recently started testing the waters in the Monsterotica group too. And the initial responses that I'm getting are pretty positive as well. It was just funny to realize that it's like, okay, yeah, like I said, if I plan this out correctly, I can hit what looks like 2 very separate groups, but they're not really. And, furries and women who like to read monster smut, which the more I study that side of the fandom, the more I just think that these are just furries too. So then I ended up with a situation where it's like, okay, so these initial concepts are obviously in the right direction. And it's just kind of funny realizing that it's like, wow, time really is a flat circle and how I'm just circling back into my furry fandom roots in order to move into this new realm, the Monsterotica readers. And the thing that surprised me the most about doing this is just like how much deliberate thinking you you have to do when you're trying to create essentially a line. I've never really done that before. I mean, I'm trying. I thought I was kind of doing that with House of Bob. I mean, all that was just, I have Eagle Raven, I have Tall Tales, and then I have House of Bob. And it's just like a title that I could just put that artwork under, just to kind of like keep it compartmentalized. In terms of actually turning it into something marketable, it requires a lot more thought than just making some horny furry art and then just putting out a sketchbook or something, or just, or whatever, and calling it a day. And it's not, because I really had to sit down and think about, okay, who are these characters? What are these characters that I'm going to make that can translate well into merchandise? Because in the end, that's going to be where we're all my with Tall Tales and Eagle Raven, those characters, they all come from a comic. So that's the focus of those two titles. It's like, oh, this is the comic. But I'm not going to make a comic for House of Bob. That's way too much work. And House of Bob just started, just started off as just pinups. And then I started putting together sketchbooks, i.e., the Kickstarters that I ran. Now it's like, okay, how do I expand on that? So in the end, I had to pretty much decide that it's like, okay, this is going to be more of a merchandise line where it's going to be tchotchkes based, and sketchbooks eventually based on these characters. With House of Bob, it's like me and Nita, a friend of mine, we were talking about creating mascots for House of Bob to kind of create a more personal connection with the audience, as opposed to it just being like general sketchbooks. There's kind of like a little bit more, like, kind of like there's a lore around the whole thing, right? So we thought about the five mascots, right? And what's funny is that the other day I was thinking about, why did I choose five? And then I guess subconsciously I was thinking about like Disney's Fab Five, which is Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto, and Goofy, right? So those are the main Disney characters, right? I guess I was thinking the same thing. So it's like, so we're going to have like five House of Bob mascots, right? Then I was thinking about these other characters, and it's like, okay, what's the overlap? As much as I know that it's more important for me to cater to these audiences, I still wanted to do artwork that I liked doing. My last video, I was talking about fan art and how it's like I kind of had a hard time with that. And I didn't want to put myself in the same position where I was drawing stuff for the sake of drawing it, as opposed to enjoying it. And, and I really didn't want to do fan art of other people's novels. I mean, there's already official artists for books like Ice Planet Barbarians, and I didn't want to get into that. So it's like, okay, I want to make something that's mine, but also caters to these two audiences. So I boiled it down to, it's like, okay, if House of Bob is these five women, right? These five female characters, right? Then the obvious choice would have to be, I need five guys. My initial interest was Omegaverse werewolves. And it's like, okay, I can do something with that. How do I do an Omegaverse version of Hello Kitty? And if you don't know what Omegaverse is, I'm not going to explain it to you. It's one of those, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, just head on over to Wikipedia and just read it, okay? It's a thing. My intention was to make kind of like Hello Kitty Omegaverse. where it's the idea, like the concept is just generic enough for the audience to project whatever they need onto the characters, right? That I then in turn made little stickers out of, because one of the merchandise ideas that I felt was the easiest to run with were stickers. And especially stickers with little sayings on them. That seems to be a thing. Like stickers with little sayings, quippy sayings on them are usually more popular than just regular pinup stickers. Right. And then it's like, it's like, oh, it would be really cool if I could do unicorns. I'd really like to do unicorns, because, why not? Right. Why not? And I did 5 of those. And those are the ones that I finished this week. So I did 5 unicorns, 5 extra stickers. And the thing is though, it's like I'm really happy with the way everyone came out. I can say with all honesty, I had fun doing this stuff. And it's like, okay, we're definitely on the right track, because at least as long as I'm enjoying making this merch, it should be I shouldn't experience the burnout that I did with the fan art. That it's like it should be more sustainable. Now I'm currently working on the House of Bob mascots. I have the first one sketched out, ready to ink. And also part of the idea is once I have these mascots done, I should be able to take that artwork and mix and match. My idea is that okay, so you have like kind of like these these base poses, right? And then what I want to do is like chibi versions of everybody, because then it's like they can serve a different purpose. Like they'll look better as like, I don't know, like things like keychains, right? Like I'm looking for these base versions to do like maybe like acrylic standees, and then do like really basic, like an initial basic print set. And then I want to take these same characters and do like more deluxe print artwork for them. But the idea is to like be able to kind of use these bases as basic merchandise, as keychains, as stickers, as bookmarks, as mini prints, and then kind of like expand from them. So there's a benefit to just having limited characters and just like testing out the waters with them. Already, I'm kind of thinking about another group of 5 guys, probably like cryptids instead, just to kind of like have that other variation, or at least popular monsters in the Monsterotica circle. So yeah, so it was just like kind of like really strange putting myself in this different mindset in creating these characters. I'm just really happy that we're at a point where manufacturing is a lot easier now than it used to be. I do have 2 manufacturers that are big in anime circles that will serve my purposes just fine. But and then, but in the end, also it will boil down to sketchbooks as well. Now, here's the funny thing. None of this effort guarantees that I will be able to get a vendor's table at Monsterotica next year. Because yeah, I could offer up all this stuff, but the fact that I've never done like book covers might be an issue. That's the one connecting thing that I see with the artists that are featured at Monsterotica. They've all done book covers. At least I know that if I don't make it in next year, I will know for a fact it's because I have no book cover cred. And hopefully at this Monsterotica, I can hopefully make the connections to help change that. So that's where I'm at this week. So thank you so much for joining me. You could be anywhere else, but instead you clicked on this video and sat for the full 20 minutes. If you made it to the end, put the octopus slash or squid emoji in the chat in honor of Monsterotica. If you want to learn more about me and my artwork and everything that I do, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my social media sites. You can also check out my work on Webtoon as well. Ego Raven updates every Tuesday on Webtoon, and Tall Tales updates every Thursday. Thank you again, everybody. And thank you so much for your patience with this late vlog. But hopefully, by the time you see it, you won't even notice that it's late. So, thank you so much again, and I'll see you next time.